By the stars early light was so proudly we hailed, had the twilight last gleam, whose rust rise and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flame, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now, we will honor those who have fallen before us. I'll ask the advisory board member, Jim Ganway, take a moment of silence afterwards. Please remain standing for our invocation of every member. Morning, everybody. Make you as uncomfortable as possible. I'm going to go before the Lord. I pray with my eyes open. Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for calling us to this place of honor, to this gathering of trainers and those who are seeking to be filled
Maybe a little.
And everything that they do every year, we've been in St. Louis. Appreciate that. And, you know, offer a little opening remarks from our Chief Tracy. You guys say a little bit, Chief Tracy? Well, let's say a little bit. Chief Tracy took the helm of St. Louis PD just a couple of years ago, and he worked before that at a place called New York City Police Department and Chicago Police Department. Very dedicated. Things do happen sometimes. Bosses all the way. So we will soldier on. The next recognition that I'm going to have, I'm going to recognize the trainers that we have representing the nation of Ukraine for the second year in a row, not the second time, the second year in a row. And I would ask them to please stand and be recognized. It's a very different place for them, but some things are the same. Training is the same what we do. And we have the good fortune of having veterans each year, and not in harm's way, but a week of fellowship, we can network, and we can learn some traditions. Take care. All right, I have some special thanks to give out this morning. The first one, because we're a retirement administration, so to speak, so I have special thanks, first of all, to my good, very good daughter-in-law, very wonderful, and an essential employee that we talked to on the phone when you call the office. Marla Henson, our Director of Member Services. So if I could have Marla come up, please. Marla, in honor of your 10 years of dedicated service to law enforcement training, and I should have come up with you. So, and I'll be around. Yeah. The next special thanks to the person that has been in law enforcement training a very long time, Mary Grace Butler. Mary Grace started out in the publishing field, later went to another trainer organization and helped them out. And thank goodness, Ed Murphy was lucky enough to go out and figure out how to do it. So, for 30 years, they've dedicated service to law enforcement training. So I think that's special. One of my best friends. I have to tell him Mary Grace. Mary Grace never worked in the government sector like most of you. And so early on, she had some mistake that happened or whatever. She felt so bad that she had to call me and tell me about it. And I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. But she really took this hard because she's one of those professionals. We know that doesn't work in government work. You know, good enough for government work, right? So she said, I'm just really, I feel awful. So I said to her, I said, Mary Grace, let me tell you what I said when I came to employment. First of all, did anybody die? If they did die, were they bad? Will anybody miss them? If it's broken, can we fix it with duct tape? Blame it on somebody else. Something like that. We've got a wonderful working relationship, and we're going to continue. I told her I have to have a gradual step down, maybe call her only 5 times a week, then it's 4 times, 3 times. We'll gradually tear down that, but we'll always be talking. So, thank you very much. And the next person that should be here, not here. Okay. Well, we're going to recognize them anyways, and ask somebody to step up and take this work. This guy that you see wandering around, Eichner, is the head guy here at the hotel. And we met when we first started looking at the St. Louis area. And it was certain that we were going to probably be here. I came to the Rosemont Conference. He came there to see what our meeting was about, to learn what the conference was about. We'd never seen that kind of dedication. I worked so hard at the Rosemont Conference, some of the staff there thought he was there. But I think it's been wonderful through the years we've been here, including the years where I was actually cleaning rooms. That was a bad time. I did not have a conference that year. And I said, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, we're expecting some revenue. It's cool. It's all right. You know, you're a good customer. These are good people. We want to bring them back every year we can. And so we've got a wonderful working relationship. So I'll ask Christina Flowers. We'll catch up with her later on. Thank you. Christina is the right hand and left hand of All right. And then the other people making it possible. It just amazes me, the people that come here, spend a week of their time to make your conference possible every year. And they don't get a chance to go to class very often. They're registering you or passing out shirts or learning to fix a projector or something like that. And it is staff. That would be, for me, very great. And Marla already introduced two our three staff. But the conference staff, would you please stand? Those are great. Like I said, this would not work without them. For the cost to hire a firm to come in and do what they do, who wouldn't do it nearly as well, would be astronomical. So I really appreciate everything that you do to make their accomplishments a positive thing. Could I have all the members of the advisory board please stand? As you know, we don't have a fancy board of directors because we're not a 501c. We saw what happened in prior organizations before that. They decided to simplify the thing, but we still want to have that input. So our advisory board helps us, guides us, gives us great ideas, and of course, most of our here teaching as well. Anybody who can, is teaching to help with the conference, so we appreciate that as well. Yeah, get a journalist staff. There we go. They do just do such an excellent job of making that journal possible. And that's a vehicle that touches all the other membership, those who can't be at the council. So we really appreciate that as well. St. Louis Metro PD, we mentioned that before, but we do appreciate it. You have to have a relationship when you run a conference like this, not just with the hotel, but also area law enforcement. So we're so privileged to have their support, to have their range, just a myriad of different things that they make possible. Union Station Hotel, we mentioned them as well. It's not about the building, it's not about that. Just like if you're working, it's not about the squad cars, it's not about the building, it's not about the jail or whatever. It's about the people. These people are great. All the vendors that come here. Why are they important? Well, many of the vendors you'll find out are trainers as well. But those vendors come here because this is a great audience to demonstrate products and services and technology. It's a good environment for them. And because they come, because they buy those tables out there, which are less expensive than most of the industry, by the way, the cost of the conference has got down. The cost of operations has got down. So thank goodness for the vendors, but also thank goodness for them bringing these things to us, to show to us. And then the instructors. All the instructors for this year, please stand up. Got more than 140. And you go sometimes to a conference and they say keynote speakers, that kind of thing. They're paying big money for that. We've never paid for a speaker. In the history of our We've never done that. considerable effort, and even after the conference, donating themselves to their fellow trainers. You can't say enough fun. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, you guys. This is what it's about. The attendees, the people that come here, the ones that go to classes and network and learn, and go out and do great things. That's really what we're doing. Just like in your agency, if you're a boss, if you're a sergeant, if you're even a trainer, what's your mission? You're supporting the people at the level of execution where you are the tip of the sword. The trainers here are out making things better for their agencies, for their community every day. So you are why they're here. You are the purpose. I also want to recognize the conference sponsors. These folks as well help the conference cost down, and they provide some really interesting entertainment and stuff during the week. You'll see a number of those things we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm not going to go through each one because my mission is to get this done today and get you all my classes. That's why we never really have a keynote speaker anymore. We have to do back in the early days. From your feedback, let's get going. I got a session I want to get to. But we want to thank all these conference sponsors for everything that they do for our unit. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the upcoming events. Today, heading in Grand, if you were unable to get to the intro to that unit conference last night, we repeat that today. So please go to that. And even if it's not your birthday, try to make it to that. It's wonderful experience. We also have the Emerson Hour. That will be tonight, sponsored by Winning Mind. It'll be tonight, 7 o'clock, midway live. And if you don't know what the Emerson Hour is, what I recommend is that you come. It's almost hard to describe. No PowerPoints, no audio visuals, 9 minutes of just inspired communication to you. It'll really power you up. And thanks for Joe Willis for moderating that. 7 p.m. midway 5, please be here. I mentioned getting to Expo Tuesday and Wednesday. This is a place of learning, okay? There's much to find out about here. There's more than 120, we have 120 more vendors this year, more than we've ever had before. Literally had the biggest space in the whole world. And they support this conference, as I said before. But in addition, there are door prizes throughout. You know, if you ever find there's a time you can't come to the conference, come to the Expo. Any sworn law enforcement, any active military, any arena member can go to that Expo. And this year, when they come and they give us a business card, we give them a blue ticket just like we gave you for a chance to win a gun. And other prizes that the vendors don't. So, yes, we're definitely a little program with them. So, come and see us at the Expo. Okay. Other upcoming events. Tuesday night, the whiskey tasting floral tournament presented by Milo and Man Presents. This is going to go until 9 p.m. to 7 to 9 p.m. So join us. There's going to be libations. It's going to be fun. Excited to see John. We'll go online. You can also join online and get yourself a team. Get yourself a team together. So there's an award. There's some great awards and great prizes for the top finishers. There's even an award that John announced last night for the team with the best name. So that might be a little subjective, but so we'll do that as well. 7 p.m. is the week. That'll be the other side. That'll be the other side of the expo. Okay, other upcoming events. IDEA After Hours. This is the new name for our hospitality, okay? And almost every night, yeah. Brian Plaskus up here. Brian. The great communicator. And so IDEA After Hours is really about fellowship and networking, and the thing that IDEA members told us is the best part of the conference is that networking. So definitely come down there. Just take it. It's a long week. You know, I say that about the whiskey tasting as well. You know, remember, pace yourself because it's a long week. We want to see you in class most of the time. Finally, on Friday, we have what we call the changing of the guard. So if you haven't paid any attention to any email we ever send out, there's going to be a changing of the guard for IDEA. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But come down, meet the new administration of IDEA. We've had a year now to transition into this. So we're trainers after all, right? We aren't just going to do this. Well, unfortunately, Ed had to leave a bit of a rush because of health reasons, but it was okay. Well, I want to make sure we continue this organization, and these folks do the same as well. schedule that you got, a couple little things in there that are not accurate. Mr. Schlosser had a problem with wife's in the hospital, family first, right? So that's where he's at. Laura Scary may have a court appointment this week that she has to be at. It's probably the 7 o'clock. And so she may not be there, so if you don't see her in the classroom, you'll see a sign that says 14. Graham Kidius was to be here. You think I should do the assignments. You can see him in the paper schedule. He's not there, but who is there in his time slots? Have Maxwell volunteers come and do a lecture class on OBTO and law enforcement control rifles. So that'll be Monday at 3 and Thursday at 3. This is why you need to have the app, because there's a few little errors in that paper schedule. So do download this guide book app. It's easy. You're going to see QR codes mounted up all over the place during the week. And also log in, create a login. This is where you communicate with other people, and they can communicate with you. So it's a great vehicle. You can keep track of your own personal schedule. This is fantastic stuff. Very easy. If you can't find it anyplace else, go to the Play Store or go to the Apple Store and just find Guidebook. Then search for 2024 conference. The passphrase is "Be the answer," because truly you are. It's been a great vehicle. Also, we evaluate through the Guidebook app. That's our vehicle for you to evaluate. You can evaluate the presenter. You can evaluate the course. It's very easy. So a 1 through 4 rating system. But we appreciate that. It helps us, guide the future of the conference. And there will also be an app on there, a general conference evaluation. That helps us as well to make better conferences. If you have any difficulty getting the app, please come to Depot and see somebody there, and they'll help you get onto it, because they all have it. And we will send out push messages as things change. So there'll be messages sent out, the generic one, but then also if something happens, something changes, you'll receive that as well via the app, as long as you enable it. Okay, so please update the app as well. You may leave it on, but every once in a while, boot up and go back in again, because it will update any changes that have happened. It's the easiest way to get those schedule changes. We always talk about security, and so I will again this year. We have these for a reason. Some of the stuff that we train, we don't want the other side to know about. So if you see somebody into a class without this, and the instructor doesn't tell you this person is here helping me, maybe it's their spouse, friend, whatever, some of them come here just to help out with that class. But otherwise, we want to make sure we maintain security. We're not giving the store away here, or a projector like that last year. So that's the first time in 21 years, we lost, for 20 years, we lost the projector. So now we're locking up stuff. It wasn't any of us. We know who it was. We have the video. But apparently there's a homeless shelter somewhere where they're showing videos. So badges are required. If you lose your badge, please come down to Depot where you registered at. We'll get you a replacement one. Everyone here is responsible for security. If you see something, say something. Same thing with safety. You're all trainers, and you all know the importance of safety. You see something that looks wrong, man, I wouldn't be doing that. Then say something. Because we have to have a safe conference, and we have to be grown up enough to say, you know what, I might have missed something. A baton cord, or something else, or a loose electrical cord, or whatever it might be. So do say something. There are safety rules in your program guide, and a safety briefing really should be standard operating procedure, even a little bit in your class. So what happens if the instructor got that? What should we do? Call him Tuesday. None of you are who's going to go get help? Those little things. So safety, again, everybody's job. We've got an excellent record with IDEA. This is an excellent record. I think the worst thing we've had have been people that didn't use the mask and were trying something out in the hallway and got rug burners. They didn't want me to write my note because I got rug burners. Please take that very seriously. Report any injury, even minor, because you just don't know what can happen later on, right? Something will come up. So please report any injury, and we'll make a record of it. If you have parking issues, again, talk to the folks at Depot. They can help you out. We do have hotel guests. We get parking passes at the front desk, and then commuters come to Depot registration. We get some discounted parking for you. Okay, so come see us there. Now, this part's pretty important. I mentioned networking is the most sought after, the most important part of the conference. The thing that people say the networking was just amazing. So we kind of force feed the networking. We started right here. You've been here for now for a half hour. It's time to stand up again. But what I want you to do, when you do, I want you to introduce yourself, someone nearby who you don't know. Who you don't know. So let's do that. Let's get up and shake it out.
I'm Ron Shea. Nice to meet you.
You are live on Facebook, bro.
Oh, am I?
Is that live? We're live. Yeah. I hold the camera. This is live Facebook Live. So we just hold the camera. Pass off. Thanks.
reason I don't give any keynote speech, or we don't need anything more motivational speech from Brian was just possibly one of the most heartfelt and dedicated people I know. Yes, this is his high school graduation picture, but he doesn't allow anything with grade here on the internet. Just to clarify, I was 45 when I graduated from high school. That's 35 years of my life. So just before I start, I just want to thank Harvey for all of his support and his friendship over the years. So over 21 years ago, Ed Nowicki reached out to me and said, "You don't know me, and I do love him." And he said, "I don't really know you, but we started this organization. We're looking to put some people from outside the U.S. on the advisory board because it's an international organization. Your name has come up. Would you be willing to be part of that?" And I absolutely said yes, without even thinking about it. And then in 2009, Harvey and Ed took me out for lunch, which was unusual. I usually just have leftovers in his suite. And they explained to me that Ed was going to have to step down. Harvey was stepping in as executive director, and they asked me if I was willing to take on the role of deputy executive director. And I was honored to do that, and I'm honored to be here. And Harvey has tremendous support for me and in me. And I want to thank him for his support and his friendship. He gives me this slot to come up and talk every year, but he doesn't know what the hell I'm going to say. Some years I don't either. But what I want to talk to you about this year is 3 words: seeking, sharing, and implementing. This week is about seeking. It's about seeking new information, new insights, new wisdom, new skills, new knowledge. It's about seeking to connect with fellow trainers from around the world, to talk about what can you do in your piece of your organization to enhance the design, the delivery of your training, to enhance the engagement of the people that you train with. What can we do better so that we can create opportunities for people to actually experience true understanding and learning, retain what we're teaching, be able to recall it and apply it out in a complex world that we're going to throw them into in our profession. It's about seeking to find ways to make changes when you get back within the constraints that you face. The constraints of time, the constraints of money, the constraints of resources, the constraints of policing within a war zone, the constraints of the political environment where you work, the constraints of the regulatory bodies, very often constrain the way you can teach and what you can teach. And there's tremendous wisdom in this conference, and the people that are here, and all the people that are here. If you are facing a problem, there is somebody else here who has faced that problem in the past and has found ways to overcome it. So find those people throughout the week. Find people that you didn't come with that you don't know, and seek their insights and their wisdom. And this seeking is going to take place in the classrooms through the instruction, in the classrooms through the group conversations. It's going to take place in the hallways before classes, between classes. It's going to take place in multiple restaurants over a meal. It's going to take place at the Emerson Hour. It's going to take place at IDEA after hours. And we had this conversation about renaming the hospitality, not for political reasons, not for political correctness, but because my challenge to you is make this entire week about learning. And so when you go to IDEA after hours, enjoy a beverage, alcoholic or not, but have conversations. Have conversations throughout the week, conversations about what are you learning? How are you thinking about implementing what you're learning? What are the obstacles that you are anticipating to implement what you learn? Have conversations so you can tap into the wisdom and the experience and the knowledge of the other people that are here. And as I said, find people that you don't know. Find people that you didn't come with. Because you're going to have the opportunity to go back with people that you came with, people from your agency, and have those conversations and greater depth once you're back, to take advantage of everybody else that is here. There are three additional things that I'm going to encourage you to focus on this week, or to do this week with Enhance Your Learning. One of them is to take a page in your notebook if you're taking notes, handwritten notes, or create a page in your document, in your digital device if you're taking notes digitally, and at the top put action steps, or put the 4 words, stop, start, continue, and change on that page. And throughout the week, when you're in class, when you're having conversations, when you're having these discussions, and you have an idea about something that you could implement, or something that you need to change, something you might need to stop doing, something you need to start doing, something you need to continue to do, but you're doing some great things that you can build on, or something you need to change, write it down on that page. And the reason I encourage you to create a separate page or pages for this is to make it easy for you to find when the week is over. So you don't always have to go back through all of your notes to find the action steps. So create that document. I'm going to encourage you to take a few minutes every morning, starting tomorrow morning, and sit down with your notebook and reflect on the classes you attended the day before, and then write out your key takeaways from each of those classes. And do that without looking back at your notes. Force yourself to engage in actively the effort to retrieve that information, and write out those takeaways for every class that you attend. And then the third thing that I'm going to encourage you to do this week is make sleep a priority. Now some of you are thinking, well, as you get old, you sound like my mother. But here's what I want us to be thinking about. This week is about learning. Learning takes place offline. Learning takes place during sleep. All the phases of sleep are critical for learning. And one of the things that's impacting us drastically as a profession is that we're in a state of chronic sleep deprivation. And it's killing us. It's literally killing us. If we're looking for one nexus to our mental health issues, our physical health issues, to some of the poor decisions that we make, to some of the lack of learning that goes on in the training environment, it is directly linked to a lack of sleep. You can enjoy the social events, you can enjoy the camaraderie, you can enjoy the evening events, and still make your sleep a priority. But consider this, if you impact your sleep negatively tonight, it will impact the learning from today. It will negatively impact tomorrow, and on from there. We, as a profession of trainers, need to help our people understand the importance of sleep. For too long, we have lived by the adage, I can sleep when I'm dead. And that comes way too soon for people in our profession. Part of that is because of lack of sleep. And while this week is about seeking, next week and beyond are about sharing and implementing. And I'm going to encourage you that when you go back, be intentionally deliberate about sitting down with people from your agency, with fellow trainers, with your supervisor, and making time on multiple occasions to share your takeaways, your insights, your learning from the presentations that you attended this week. And when I'm talking about sharing, I'm not talking about going back and jumping up and down and saying, man, that was a great conference, you should really go, you really missed out. And while that's true, it's not helpful. Start to find ways to work with your fellow trainers to get them here next year. But in the meantime, sit down with them. Share your takeaways, share your insights, share the resources, have conversations with them, ask for their input, ask for their reflections, get input on how you might be able to implement some of these ideas, but be intentional about sharing what you learned. By doing that, you enhance your learning from this week, and now you spread the learning to others from your agency as well. And so we need to take action. In his book, Resilience, Eric Greitens wrote, deciding is not doing, and wanting is not choosing. Transformation will take place not because of what you decide you want, but because of what you choose to do. So let me read that again. Deciding is not doing, and wanting is not choosing. Transformation will take place not because of what you decide you want, but because of what you choose to do. What you choose to do when you leave here, what you choose to do when you get back to your agencies, to your organization, your country? What are you going to do to share this? If you go home after your week here and nothing changes in your agency, nothing changes in your training, then it will have been a good week in St. Louis. It will have been a good week at the conference. But it will be a horrible disservice to the heroic men and women that you have the privilege and the honor of serving as trainers and coaches and mentors and leaders. We have a responsibility. We often complain when budgets get cut. Training is one of the first things to get cut, because we are not intentionally deliberate enough about getting a return on investment from our training. You're investing a week of your life to be here. You or your organization are making a significant financial investment for you to be here. Let's make sure we get a return on that investment. And I'm going to encourage you that when you go back and think about creating and running a series of small experiments, create a hypothesis on how you can implement what you're learning, and how it could improve the training, and how it could improve people's performance out in the field. And then think about running a series of small experiments. Run the experiment, assess, iterate as necessary, run another experiment, assess, iterate. Just make little changes, small incremental changes. Sometimes what we do is we go back and we try to change the world. Make small incremental changes on an ongoing basis. And if you do that over the next year, then your organization, your training will experience significant growth over the time between next conference and this conference. And I'm going to encourage you to keep two questions in mind when you start running those series of experiments. The first is one that many of you have heard me talk about before. The question that I refer to as life's most powerful question, that's what's important now? And what's important now is that you share the information. What's important now is that you take action to implement it. The question of what's important now will help you to prioritize the things that you're going to implement. And then the second question I'm going to encourage you to keep in mind is what's the smallest change I could make, we could make, that would make the biggest difference. Small changes are easier to make. Small changes don't require us to go through all the bureaucratic layers, jump through all the hoops. But we can make a series of small changes. But it's not just what small change can you make. It's not change for the sake of change. It's what's the smallest change that you can make that will make the biggest difference, that will have the biggest impact. It's a deep question. Share that question with your fellow trainers, and then prioritize what you're going to change and implement. And I'm going to encourage you while you're here to identify at least one accountability partner, maybe multiple accountability partners, and reach out to them during this week and say, look, I'm going to record a series of action steps over the course of the week. And I'll share all of them with you at the end of the week. I'm going to ask you to hold me accountable to make sure that I follow through and do these things. Because when you get back to this conference, life is going to punch you in the face. And you're going to run into the skeptics and the cynics and the naysayers. And you're going to run into people that couldn't get here this week. You need to be willing to be patient, to have the conversations, and then find time to make those small incremental changes. So create that accountability partner. Accountability is the glue that binds commitment to results. And I'm going to encourage you also to build in time. Just 5 to 10 minutes twice a week to sit down without looking back at any of your notes from this week, pick a class that you attended, and then just for 10 minutes without getting on any of your other devices, just rack your brain and write it out. What did I learn in that class? And just force that retrieval, and do it all the time. It's going to strengthen your will. Seeking, sharing, implementing. Those are the 3 words I started this talk with. And what they all have in common is they're action words. They require you to do something. They require you to take action. And that becomes the key. This is a great week. The next 51 weeks of the year are perhaps the most important weeks. What are you going to do to make change in your organization? And so when you get back to the grind, when life punches you in the face, what's important now is to continue to remind yourself of the quote from Theodore Roosevelt: do something now. If not you, then who? And if not here, then where? And if not now, then when? I'm going to leave you with a challenge from Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. You cannot leave this conference at the end of the week without knowing better. We are all going to know better if we are immerse ourselves in the learning and the seeking this week. The challenge for each and every one of us then is when we get back is to do better. Do better by running that series of small experiments and finding ways to implement what you learn and finding ways to share what you learn. And if we all do that, that's when we start to improve the profession, one small experiment at a time. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. But most importantly, I want to thank you for your willingness to accept the mantle of responsibility to be trainers in your organization. Very few people are willing to accept that responsibility. And I thank you for that, and I thank you for your commitment, and I thank you in advance for taking action on that work. And I look forward to seeing you all again next year. Thank you.
As I mentioned before, Chief Grade Certificate, we are fortunate to have Lieutenant Colonel Eric Larson from the St. Louis Metro PD, who is an adult role in the department.
Thanks, Steve. Oh, it's just gonna go.
Good morning, everyone. As indicated, unfortunately, Chief Rob Tracy wasn't able to attend this morning. However, he would like to welcome you all to the great city of St. Louis and to another successful ILEDA convention. Now, it may be kind of early for me to say that it's successful, except I know that it's going to be successful. Because as someone who had the opportunity to provide opening remarks, I think it was in 2022, and has attended probably the last 5 ILEDA conferences, I know this is going to be a successful week. The information exchange, the opportunity, hands-on training. I've been to a lot of conferences in my police career, and I can safely say that ILEDA is among the best. Pound for pound, day for day, the amount of information that is delivered is exceptional. I use information that I've learned at these conferences every day of my career. And as indicated, my name is Eric Larson. I'm a Lieutenant Colonel of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. I'm currently in charge of crime control strategies, which is essentially our data collection and ongoing daily evaluation of crime and crime trends and how to use the limited resources that we have to address those trends. And I know, as I look around the room here, that if I ask, does everybody have the resources that they need? I would get that chuckle. Because none of us have all the resources we need. Recruiting is a challenge, and training is a challenge. And Executive Director Willis, he hit so many great points in his talk about the importance of training. Training large, training small, and bringing forward that level of training. Because one thing I know, in one of my prior roles, I was involved with a lot of litigation. You may have read in the paper, St. Louis is no stranger to litigation. And one of the things that came up a lot of times in depositions is our officers would claim, nobody ever told me, we didn't have a policy, or I was never trained. And oftentimes I would have to go and refute those depositions by showing policy, special order, number, here it is, outline, training, here it is, covered both in basic recruit training and ongoing always, always important. And as trainers, as someone who had a role for our police academy for a couple of years, what you do is incredibly important. Whether you have formal authority or informal authority, every instance is an opportunity to train, to learn, and to do better. So one of the other things that I thought was very interesting is, hey, get plenty of sleep. Very, very, very wise. But if you're not getting plenty of sleep, I want you to get out and enjoy a lot of the things that St. Louis, the city of St. Louis in particular, has at home. You have, and if you remember my talk about Union Station is one of the crown jewels of downtown St. Louis. As we stand here in the renovated ballrooms again, chasing history, there are many things to do, both within walking distance and short cab rides. So, in between training, in between networking, go out, get some barbecue, have a good time. And again, on behalf of Chief Robert Tracy, welcome to IDEA. Have a successful week.
All right, the next presentation is always a wonderful one to have here when we start to close things out. Each year, IDEA chooses the trainer of the year, not chosen by me, chosen by the past winners, chosen by their peers of IDEA. So we're going to announce that at this time. A number of people were nominated, it was very close race this year, but in the end, it was pretty much a settled issue. This person, let's see if you can guess who it is. Let's start out. Born in Canada. No, it's not Brian, because he already won. Born in Canada. That's probably not enough information. And a PhD in police psychology. That's all. No. The tenured professor. Retired from the university after 28 years. He appeared in Scotland Yard, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, International Association of Chiefs of Police, and British House of Commons. So this narrows the field just a little bit. The person selected by his fellow trainer of the year for this year has impacted law enforcement training, has impacted the defense of police officers for decades. I was a witness to one of those incidents. We talked about it just before we started today, about a young man's career, perhaps his life was saved by something that resulted from that research, from that important research. The winner in 2024 is Don Williams.
Many years ago, when I sat in the seats that you are sitting in today, decades ago, in fact. And it truly is an honor for me to receive this award from individuals like you who have committed yourself to advancing the profession. You don't get to this position on your own. You get to it with the support of many people. You stand on the shoulders of the achievements of many others. And you need to take a few minutes to recognize the people that have helped us by us and all of the people connected to Four Sons in any fashion, including those who have shared the research with others. First of all, I need to thank Marty Greenberg for making that recommendation. Without that, I wouldn't be here. But also, I really need to thank Patricia King, who's been co-owner with me from 1985 with Four Sons in the evolution of summer. So she's been both the root and the wind beneath our wings that has helped us flourish. I need to thank Chuck Bernsberg. Chuck Bernsberg initially hired me to spread some of his teaching, his street survival and technical edge, and introduced me to Gary Klugowitz, who was really a primary trainer in this area, one of the founders of ASLED. And I followed ASLED from Anchorage, Alaska, to Ontario, California, to Orlando, as I advanced in my knowledge of training. And Gary introduced me to Coach Lindsay and Ed Nowicki, real giants in the area of police training. And they shaped how I approached what it is that I was doing in the 28 years at Minnesota State University, teaching a law enforcement program, coordinating it, and eventually chairperson of the Department of Government. I want to thank Brian Willis. Many years ago, we've been working together, a composite, and advancing the police profession based on science. And Brian is not only an inspiration, but a real knowledge source for organizations. And then, of course, our lead technique, who was carried on and really pushed Wikki's mission. I'm so appreciative. I need to thank as well many of the people who attended Fourth Science and is taking our knowledge, the knowledge we've shared, and pushing it forward. And that includes some of the people lecturing here. We have Bob Lee, Nicole Florisi, we have Mike Masengo, we have John Bartel, and also Jeff John Kerr. So if you want to share some of our knowledge, you may want to take advantage of that. We did an interesting study. 3 years in collecting data, made 10,000 videos of skill acquisition. Well, before I dive into that deeply, my ancestry is Ukrainian Canadian, and I'm from the Lvov area of the Ukraine. And now I have American citizenship. Yes, okay, I have American citizenship, so I'm an American Canadian Ukrainian. But we made 10,000 videos of skill acquisition and reachability in 3 major state academies, all responsible for the primary instruction of police officers in those states. And what we found was not very encouraging. We used physical skills as a proxy for what was happening in the academy and the type of training that was going on, the learning that was achieved in that academy, and the end results. And after 10,000 videos and 3 years of study and 5 years of hiring a professional team and paying that professional team, we found that by the time people graduated from the academy using the traditional methods and using physical skills as a proxy, by the time they graduated, critical components of those skills were no longer functional with compliant subjects. We do have a takeaway, and the majority of officers could not make fast enough contact or contact at all with the gun or the arm holding the gun. If you can't do that, that skill is non-functional. Impact tools, same thing. I was asked once, and continue to get asked, Doc, what's the most important thing we can teach? First of all, we can teach what we teach based on science. But most importantly, we can inspire people, as Brian just stated, to to become masters of their own learning, where they mindfully acquire a skill. And if we're committed to anything, it is changing the foundation which we're teaching so there's mindful engagement in the learning process. I need to go back to thank one other person who really helped us do this. In the 1960 precisely, the U.S. Air Force expanded their commando unit. They rebuilt it after World War II. That was gone, and in 1960 they began putting it together, and that commando unit became the foundation for all the specialized units that the Air Force now has in a variety of combat zones. And a combat hand-to-hand instructor in the program in the 60s with that Special Forces unit was a guy named Bill Ruger. In 1975, I met Bill Ruger and started training. And Bill Ruger taught me something really important. First of all, as like all the others instructors connected as like anti-Alita really drove home the need to have training constraining by law and policy. What Ruger taught me was that everything we teach in arrest and control techniques is based on the science of physics. And if you break the parameters of physics, nothing you're teaching in variability matters. In fact, if you fail the law of physics, the officer will fail in the application of technique and endanger their safety. But there's another component that's really important. In this book, which contains some of the earlier research of Four Sons, nothing else. This is just some of the early research of Four Sons. Almost 500 pages of our research and why we did that research. If you can't teach people to do the technique at the speed with which it needs to be done, in the situation it needs to be done, it will fail. And a lot of our research is based on that. So we have some constraints. Policy, physics of action, speed with which that skill needs to be done, facing threat in different situations. I just changed the slide. For 6 months, we've been looking at something new that's going to have a really profound effect. I want to take a few minutes to ask you to join us in something. But for 6 months, we've been looking at IA. And IA is having a profound effect on law enforcement. In fact, what was just mentioned here with data processing, IA is having a profound effect even now in Washington with DOJ and FBI. They're using IA in assessing crime stats and moving things forward. In the area of investigation, IA will rapidly expand the investigation process and the problems and the need for training in that area like never before. IA will contaminate investigations like we have never seen. And the capacity to distinguish rumor and fiction from fact is going to be even higher. And we need to begin to move to understand that, because within months, it will start to contaminate our investigations and begin to separate us as not only a nation, politically, but cops and the rest of the citizens, because rumors will be spread that are not true, and people will not be able to define fiction from reality based on social media. And IA will transform investigations in that fashion. It will also facilitate something. Axon, last week, did a presentation on their simulation of Fusus. Fusus is a IA system that integrates all video, license plate readers, body cam, cell phone data in one system, and can drive it to an officer's source immediately. They haven't looked at the human factors of cognitive overload with that information that's also going into the scene, but nonetheless, they can track, they can follow. It's just amazing. And within 3 years, what they're doing will look like they're working with a hammer and a chisel on stone. Really. It will advance immensely investigations. But what we're primarily concerned with is the role of IA in training. And it will be amazing. What we see from our study in the last 6 months and our work with federal agencies that use this stuff covertly, what we see is an immense leap forward in training. And we're looking forward to that, to really bringing science and technology into the kinds of problems that we've identified with how we currently instruct in academies, block and silo, limited number of hours. But here's a problem, and here's a challenge we face.
Boss, one second, you're scaring these people. It's AI, not internal affairs.
I didn't say I am. Those of you who know this, that was a sudden capture error. Sudden errors. That's a sudden capture. Thank you. Okay, so I continue to say IA because that's what eight, thank you. AI. AI really will push training forward immensely. But here's the problem. No matter what science you use to teach what it is you're teaching, no matter what technology you use to teach it, we have studied human being planetary for almost 50 years. No matter what you do, when you teach all the skills a police officer needs in 400 hours, you fail the people who send to do your job. When you train all that needs to be done by a police officer, 2/3 of officers leading the academy will never have a formal FTO program. And you train them in 800 hours, you have now matched what pet code requires of a dog groomer before they will let someone trim a dog's hair independently without supervision. You believe you are training everything a human being needs to do as a law enforcement officer to serve their community in 800 hours. And if you train 1,650 hours like LAPD, you are training approximately what a cosmetologist requires to buff nails in the state of California. And a barber requires double that. And if we really are going to serve the people who serve us, will you join us in pushing forward some amendment process that what we do is train officers according to science as to how human beings learn a skill, integrate it, use it with other skills, and become great clinicians. Because that's what cops are, great clinicians. They look, they see, they assess, they make a decision, and then they implement a solution. That's a clinical profession, and that requires time. Will you join us in moving forward some push to really begin to spend the time to do this? I'm on the Patrol and Tactical Operations Group with ICP. We have spent 4 years now trying to get a movement through ICP, that ICP make a recommendation. 4 years. That all police training based on the sciences of how human beings learn, acquire skill, retain it, and then can use it. And the reason it's now sitting on the desk of administrators with ICD is because they understand the implications and the costs involved in really taking a serious look as to how you treat people in this profession and give them the knowledge they need to go out and do the job we send them to do. And so, I thank you for this award. I thank you for sharing the mission with us and allowing us to share our mission with you. We're trying to improve this profession and based on what officers really need to do the job we send them to do. Thank you for what you do.
All right, we're on the home stretch here. I want to have, this is my, I don't usually talk about music. This is my last conference as executive. So, sorry guys, you're here a little bit. And, the first thing I thought was, damn, I got old. I just celebrated my 69th birthday. And, a while back, I realized that, I don't have the same energy I had 40 some years ago. And I decided that this organization deserves even better than what it has today. So it was time. A year ago, I decided it was time to move this to the next generation. It was drive and energy that I would still be there to help out. And so we transitioned over the past year. And then I want to tell you how I got here, because we're all the same. Our stories are similar. And mine is nothing special. I started a long time ago. That is called a landlord. AMC manager. Yes, if you're watching on the phone, that was my era. Okay. I was very fortunate. I worked with some small departments. I started small departments, eventually went to a sheriff's department, and from there, I became a sergeant 4 years later. I then got to the detective bureau. The problem with detective bureau work is that people commit crime without attention to your personal schedule at all. It's about New Year's and suicides and homicides and stuff. So I got out of that very civilized type of law enforcement, and that was drug enforcement, because we schedule something to happen. And if you get it wrong, you can always move over again. So I like that. I like working with a small group of people, small team, kind of like our police, property staff now. A small team of dedicated people that I knew very well. It was like being in that small police department. You knew everyone's strengths and everyone's weaknesses were. So that was wonderful. But going back to the beginning of the law enforcement career, I took all of 240 hours at the Wisconsin State Patrol Academy. 240 hours. Scenario-based training? Baton training? Riot baton training. A lot of lecture, a little bit of firearms, and not nearly what we needed to go on the street. A half a day of first aid training. And when I got to the department, turns out we were the rescue squad. We had station wagons like this. And the first squad there got the bodies, the second squad got the passenger report. So you could bet we were the body switch. You could stabilize your way and lay down the hospital. It wasn't enough. So what did we realize? Our training sucked. It was really bad. The best training I had before law enforcement was being a bullet brush salesman. I said later, when I got to narcotics work, if I could talk to my way to your house with a potato brush, with 3 potatoes, heck, I'm going to talk to someone heroin anyway. No problem about that. But those verbal skills are huge today as they were back then. I had a degree from the University of Wisconsin in political science and psychology, so that was really helpful. Industrial. But I knew we needed to do better. And so I started like you, just like you. When you don't have it at home, you don't have it in your agency, what do? You go out and find it. And I am here because I stood the shoulder of giants. People, I went to the very second caliber press officer survival seminar. And that fired me up. Boy, we came back. And the interesting thing is, every time I went to something, it seemed like within a matter of weeks, something would happen at work where that training would pay off. God had his hand in this. Kind of gave me a hint. So after Caliber Press, a few weeks later, there's an stuff works. You had that aha moment, right? Remember that? And along the way, I met a chief of police named Ed Wickie. It was a small town called Silver Lake, Wisconsin. They escaped Chicago. Came up there. Ed agreed. Training style. And so Ed started training. I trained with Ed. I took the instruction from Ed. Ed was my mentor and my best friend. Ed had created a previous organization. We talked a little about that. We both belonged to previous training organizations. And for one reason or another, they didn't make it. Didn't last. So at some point, Ed and I were doing a radio show, actually, at the time. Between training together, we were doing a radio show called American Prime Time. We joked about how, well, this one will go too, and we thought, maybe, Ed thought, maybe we can do better. Let's try to reinvent the model. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep our objectives simple. Let's focus on the people we intend to serve. And he did that. Unfortunately, during this time, even before I knew it, Ed was suffering a disease called Charcot-Marie syndrome. Now, you don't want to have a disease that no one's ever heard of. There's no real cure for it. There's treatments. Ed suffered with this disease for more than 2 decades. Throughout his term with Eileen, it got worse and worse. So, eventually, Ed had to say in 2009, here, buddy, I made this sheet of paper here, got what I do on 2 sides of this. Fortunately, I've been running the conferences anyway, but it was quite a blow, quite a shock. And so I took over in 2009. It was really, really horrible to watch this strong man, a man of huge strength and knowledge, and especially right there, Mark, watch him fail. But I bless him for what he did for all of us. For those that know Ed, Diane is still doing well. She's still in Twin Lakes. We saw her just a few days ago. We had lunch with her about her. She's doing well. But Ed's the reason that I'm here. Unlike any of you. Many of you could have done this, but we could take you into his one. So I miss him, and I want to thank him for what he started. I retired from the sheriff's department. You know, I thought I had more free time, and that's about the time Ed said, yeah, you're taking over. And so I had promised my wife in retirement that we would do some wonderful things, still do some training. But, you know, I made that promise, and now before I can no longer walk on these vacations, I want to make sure that I take care of that. Because long before I love law enforcement, or long before I love training, I love the girl. Stand up. This picture is not for okay? Yeah, sit here front. This is what I used to keep on my desk, though, to remind me to go home. At the end of the day, make sure you go home alive. And she's going to hate the fact that I understand that. Not a problem. Anyway, I promised her some things, and it's time to fulfill those promises, but I'm not wandering away from everything. She's been so supportive. It's time for me to be supportive of her and to take care of my family. So it's been great 15 years, been your executive director. I have other things to say, sticking to them because I'm going to be for all people. I'll be here next year. It's all written into the plan. I'll just be a staff. And I want to thank you. You are important. I know sometimes you don't get to see the results of what it is you do. It's like the railroad on the pond, you know, when you start pushing the beach and help you. You don't get to see that. I'm very fortunate that a couple of times somebody come back and said, hey, you saved my life. I know it's happening for you. I know it's happening for you in the past, it's going to happen for you in the future. And you won't always get to see it, but know that it's there. That what you do is so very, very important to the safety of those officers, to the safety of the community. Know that it's important. I'm with it, unfortunately, to know that. So, we have a new administration. They're not going to speak today because day 2 are going to be around all week. I'm going to say a couple words about those folks. Brian is staying on as Deputy Executive Director. He's been very helpful. Brian's one of the most cerebral persons I ever met. And I learn every time I hear from Brian. And we're so fortunate to have him. Brian's been an introvert, so when I hug him here, I know that was difficult for you. So I appreciate it. But we really benefit from having Brian here. And Brian will be presenting twice this week. And so if you're on Saturday, great class on Saturday as well. You will be inspired. The next person, though, the next executive director of IDEA, is a person that came to the sheriff's department. I knew he was there, he'd done some things, and eventually became a trainer. And when I met Ray as a trainer, it was one of those aha moments too. How did my department manage to get this right? Because in the past, some of the people that chose for different roles, not quite good. This was the right person. This was the heart of that committee that I was hearing. So this I knew was going to help me in the future. And so I waited and watched for Ray retirement date to come up. And then I accomplished. Jennifer Elan, as she was known to me early, was an officer at a university where I taught in the first police department. And then later became an undercover agent for me. And did very good work. And later, Ray was taught engineering. So Ray's got it together, okay? Great person. Jenny's going to be director of operations. And then finally, Joe Willis. When I first met Joe, I said, I wish I could have pulled that beard off when I was working undercover. I could have walked from Vipers all day long. But Joe is a very committed, very dedicated person. And again, the heart is there. That's what's most important part. I think is the heart. This is secondary to this. So, well, thank you. Thank you all for taking over. And I will be there to help. Very graceful. We'll be helping as well tomorrow. We'll all be pitching in. It's not over. But fortunately for you, these opening ceremonies are just about over. Do download the app. Do have a great week. I guess you guys are coming up in here. Hopefully you weren't to say anything.
So real fast, I want to get this whole quick with this Harvard about the organization, but somebody's got to do that. And that's what Harvard did, so we have some, everybody dance.
Sorry.
Yeah, he didn't know we were going to do this because we wanted. Well, I'll get back on it, I'll be honest. But Harvard, we just want to say thank you. Can't say a humble honor, but again, that heart, that vision of you and everybody else is going to be there. So we have some for you, and Joe will read this.
It says, Executive Director Harvey B. Henry. In recognition of 21 years of visionary leadership, prioritizing member needs and advancing law enforcement training. Your selfless dedication and stewardship have shaped ILEAD's mission and directly contributed to improving the law enforcement profession. Your commitment to excellence will have a lasting impact on the law enforcement training for generations to come. Congratulations on your retirement from the advisory board members, advisory board and members of the International Law Enforcement Educators and Trainers Association.
As you can see, that family, this is here. Everybody here, Jen, thank you. The attorney, Barb, thank you. But we won't do without that support. Marla, just everybody involved here. The long fight sport. Grace Ray Sales and Ron Sales, thank you.
All right, bunch together. These guys want to get going?
Yes.
They want to. All right, here we go. This is the inspirational.
All right. So please clap for us this one.
We're going to be on our events. We're going to be in the Alita after hours and see us on this Friday for the changing of the guard. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Stay safe. Be the answer.
Please. I thought you were going to be the only two